have just lived 6 absolutely wonderful days. My head is buzzing. I come back with a notebook full of references to read over the next 2 years. So I'm going to speak in English, but my real language tonight is the language of flowers. We have just lived one of the most intense and wonderful Congress in the memory of applied linguistics. It has been an intensely stimulating program, and I will want to thank Paula, Rodrigo, Branca, and Gemma. This has been a multilingual and multicultural conference. What I have found most stimulating is the multifaceted perspective that we have gotten on many topics in applied linguistics. In fact, I would say that holding this conference in Brazil in 3 different languages has effectuated and realized exactly what Marinda Cavalcanti was talking about in terms of defamiliarization. I think all of us have experienced that the questions that were asked and that were responded to were all the more interesting as they were non-familiar. They were bringing in different perspectives. I myself has totally been awed by this. What has also struck me is the scientific rigor combined with the political passion that I have found in this conference, and this unique and certainly not shared everywhere in the world. It has been an epistemological feast, and I would say a model of intercultural encounter. The intellectual gain to think across different languages, even if it costs a little bit of effort. And I want to thank in particular Rodrigo for his beautiful translations of all the plenary speeches. I want to thank also the superb organization of this conference, and in particular, of course, Glenda and our trusty student committee headed by Marcel. So I want to also thank, and not really the least, our cooks and the lunch managers, feeding 1,500 people. Feeding 1,500 people in 60 minutes and get them back after lunch is no small feat. And I hope that future organizers of AILA conferences are making a mental note that this was the highlight of this conference, where people were eating together, drinking together, and chatting together in really extraordinary ways. And finally, the social treats, having the beach right there, the dancers, the musicians, and of course the unforgettable Rio Scenarium last night. So I want to thank all our organizers through the language of flowers, and I would like them to come up to receive their bouquet of flowers. So I would like to thank Paula Zundi, Rogerio Tilio, Bianca Fabrizio, I give the floor to Rogerio, who's going to close this Congress, I have two more things to do as the president of AILA. First, I would like to invite you to join us again in 2020 in Groningen in the Netherlands for AILA 2020. And again in 6 years' time, in 2023, to join us in Lyon, in my home country in France. So, my last task today, the last 2 minutes of my presidency of AILA, I want to thank my fellow colleagues on the AILA Executive Board, and I would like to pass the baton, or rather the AILA portfolio, to the new president of AILA, Daniel Perrin.
Thank you, Claire. It's a bit early to sit down. You know, you gave me the heavy bag now, the heavy bag of the president, but you're going to be the past president. And what I'm giving you now is the light bag of the past president. Then let me join Claire in... should I speak up? It's okay. Let me join Claire in expressing my heartfelt gratitude to all of us who contributed to making this conference such an unforgettable experience. You mentioned all of the parties who engaged in working on this conference, but there's one thing I want to add, a footnote. It's the first time in the history of AILA that the present team helped so much organize the next conference's night. So the Brazilian team helped brought in the cheese to the Dutch night. And this is unique. Thank you. Now, dear Claire, dear colleagues, I'm happy to take up the bag and the baton. And I feel honored to do so. There are 3 reasons for me to feel this way. First, it's the baton of AILA. Second, it is Claire Kramsch handing it over. And third, this happens here in Rio. Let me elaborate a little on these 3 reasons. The first reason why I feel happy and honored to take up the baton is AILA itself. AILA has long claimed that applied linguistics is more than the mantra, and here I'm quoting Tommaso Milani's ending quote, solving practical problems of language and communication. End of quote. Many of the Rio Conference contributions show how our open-minded, provocative, and at the same time linguistically precise research can help communities address language-related issues of political relevance, address them, and solve them. In other words, serving AILA contributes to scrutinizing social patterns and, if we go beyond scrutiny, to making this world a better one, especially for those in need of change. The second reason why I feel happy and honored to take up the baton is Claire Cramsch. Claire, your heartfelt engagement for applied linguistics, paired with intellectual vigor, have long motivated both theorists and practitioners, and most of all those who combine the two in order to grow broader and dig deeper. I remember you commenting on a keynote in Paris by saying that, well, solving problems is okay, but the main question is whose problems we are going to solve. Indeed, raising these questions unremittingly makes the difference between, well, repeating and iterating the status quo and fostering development. Would you not stay with AILA as our past president? We'd badly miss you. The third reason why I feel happy and honored to take up the baton is Rio de Janeiro. I will remember this conference as a place where injustice has been called by its name, and even more than this, solutions were discussed that work in real life. One out of many shining examples, in my view, is the presentation of Melina Porto, whose abstract received an AILA and Multilingual Matters Solidarity Award. Melina explained how and why children learn to make sense of the word peace in a pilot project of education for intercultural citizenship in Argentina. By doing so, she demonstrated how we can sustainably understand and ease urgent societal problems at an early stage. In sum, taking up the baton means serving a socially indispensable organization and topic, collaborating with highly motivated colleagues and friends, and connecting with a challenged and challenging world. Together, we can provide empirical evidence, for example, of the interdependency of media literacy and social participation. Or we can depict and explain the strong ties between financial literacy and the distribution of wealth. And more than that, together we can develop scenarios to solve the problems in the interest of those whose voices have long been ignored. And we can implement sustainable solutions. Applied linguistics and AILA, therefore, must be a driving force of development. This is an excellent starting point for setting and reaching new goals. There are 3 dimensions of development I want to focus on as the AILA President 2017 to 2020. First, exploit the fact that AILA is a UNESCO organization in order to influence politics and foster development where we need it most. Second, create societal impact and, at the same time, show that language and its investigation in the transdisciplinary field of applied linguistics matter. And third, collaborate closer and synchronize with our more than 8,000 members, our more than 30 national organizations, and our existing and emerging regional networks such as AILA East Asia, AILA Europe, AILA Arabia, and AILA Latin America. Well, since we all are eager to fan out and share thoughts from this inspiring conference with our networks, I stopped talking here. Doing AILA is not only about talking. Doing AILA is much more. It's about walking your talk. Walk your talk. This is already a good part of making language meaningful. Thank you.
very much. And finally, I would like to invite Professor. Okay, so again, thank you very much. And finally, I'd like to invite Professor Rogério Gilio, Conference Co-Chair, to close our AILA View 2017.
I want to start saying that in the spirit of innovating and challenging paradigms in research and social life, the organizing committee sincerely apologizes for the use of a racist word by the university's representative in the opening ceremony. As a non-native speaker of English, in his speech, he transferred the word that is commonly used in Brazil and accepted by our Black community instead of the appropriate word in English. Again, our deepest apologies for anyone who may have felt offended by this linguistic faux pas. It's been a long week, but from what I've heard, it's also been a wonderful week. During these 6 days of intense debate, we aimed at deconstructing and reimagining the epistemological and methodological future of our field. We hope that the advances we discussed here don't fade away and that AILA 2020 picks up and expands the challenges and innovations we co-constructed in Rio. We know things were not perfect, but it's hard to be perfect when you have more than 1,500 people gathered together. I just want you to be sure that we did do our best. As in all huge events, such as this one, of all different sorts of difficulties may happen. We had to cope with some technical problems, and we had some humanitarian problems as well. But with all the support of our team, we think we have been able to cope with them. Well, Paula has already thanked in the opening those who made this unforgettable week possible. And in this moment of celebration, I want to reinforce our gratitude to those who are here. They were invisible to most of you, but they were essential for this conference to take place. I start thanking AILA for trusting us 6 years ago when we presented the bid to bring AILA to Rio and have the first AILA conference in Latin America. Thank you to ALAB and its members who supported us all the way during these 6 years. Many thanks to Interevent, Compass Brazil, and Windsor, which provided us with the infrastructure and assistance whenever needed. Very special thanks to Paula Zundi, my co-chair, for this opportunity to work with you again, Paula. Thank you very much. The academic committee, Branca Fabrício and Rodrigo Borba, who have worked on a program which is really challenging and innovative. The local organizing committee, Glenda, Ana Flávia, Ana Paula, Cristine, Janine, Marcel, Paulo, and Silvia, who worked tirelessly before and during the conference. And last but not least, I want to mention something that is very typical of Brazilian conferences: having undergraduate students working as volunteers in the organization. We could have hired professionals to do what they did, but that wouldn't be us. We had 8 students working with us, having the opportunity to be in an AILA conference for the first time. And we are proud of being able to provide them with this opportunity. I think I can say mission accomplished. Have a nice trip back home and hope to see you back in Rio soon.